Hello, everyone. Welcome to Boss Bay Blog. Today, we are talking in our success room about something specific that I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with. But before we get started, I did want to announce that we have a lovely guest speaker, Miriam Jackson, founder of TravelWithMJ.net. Thank you for joining us, MJ.
Thank you for having me. Oh, look at the balloons. They're so cute.
Right? Look, do mine work? I don't know. No, they don't. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah.
Oh, you got
All right.
confetti.
I
Ooh.
know I did the two. I think the two does confetti, right? And then, yep, and then the one does the balloons. So this is MJ's information. Good evening. And her website, Travel with MJ, it says we do the heavy lifting so you can travel light. Light as a feather. All right. Let me take her banner off. And today the topic is about, good evening, Charlie. It's about how routine matters. So I want to have this conversation because if there's any entrepreneurs out there that are struggling with consistency, struggling with balancing all of this, feeling overwhelmed, if that's you, even if you're not a new entrepreneur, you've been doing this, but you just have that overwhelming feeling, I want to talk about how important routine is. Although I do believe that it's important to host events, go to events, try new things, it's also important to have a schedule. So even if you're trying those new things within your schedule, I think that can be good. But the way that you start your business, the way that you start your day, the way that you end your business, the way that you end your day, routine is important. And I do believe that there are some tools out there, some are free, some are paid, that you can be using to help streamline your business. But one of them that I'm going to recommend that you can go and get a template off of, Google, ChatGPT, wherever, is going to be your business operational checklist. So that's the topic that I'm discussing tonight, and that's how you can kind of alleviate that somewhat. The operational checklist covers all different areas of your business, your sales, your customer service or your customer experience, your operations and tools, your visuals and merchandising and marketing. All those things are covered in your operational checklist, and you can work on it weekly, monthly, or daily. So I have one that I stick to for my brand, and it helps me to stay on track. And if I start to feel like I'm a little overwhelmed or things are disorganized, I go back to the checklist, and that sets me back where I need to be. Um, and then, like clockwork, I'm able to complete the things that need to be done for my brand throughout each month, whether that be marketing for the website, planning for events, writing out my supplies. But whatever your routine is going to be, you have to create one and then you got to stick to it. That's the other thing, too. A lot of times we say we're going to do something, but then we don't always stick to it because there's always something else that feels like it's more important in the moment that we have to execute. But you have to have a level of discipline and dedication to the routine that you create to actually see that growth. And you have to do it consistently, even on the days when you don't feel like it's giving you that benefit or that instant gratification. What's your take on this, MJ?
Um, agreed. Agreed. I'm just going to go just one step further, and I'm kind of tapping into business number four here with the Queen's Digital Studio. Having
Mm.
things scheduled, having a set of posts that you can just plug and play is the name of the game. Let's face it here. Let's be honest. And if this does not relate to you, that is a-okay, but this is my experience as a business owner. I don't have the time to sit on social media and think about what I'm going to write and post it and engage. And then they respond back. And then I respond back. Because when you are engaging with folks on social media, you are having a conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, let's be clear. That is what you are doing. You are having a conversation with a person or people because multiple people can engage with your content, with your engagement post, with your good morning post. I have gotten an influx of likes on my good morning post. Simple. Good morning. Have a great day. There might be some sort of post, some affirmation, a real something, but good morning. Have a great day. I've gotten a lot of engagement based on good morning posts.
I
It is something that it's great to do. You know, get up, say good morning to to your Facebook following, but it's not something that you want to do every day. You don't want to have to get up, go on your phone, good morning, good morning. If you can pre plan that type of content and schedule that type of content out for a week, I personally will go a month, depending on whether you are in a Facebook group or you're on a Facebook page that allows you to schedule. You have to look at the time frame that you can schedule your post out. Facebook groups will allow you to schedule out, I want to say 45 days in advance. I have to verify that one. Facebook pages that allows you to schedule only allow you to schedule out 29 days in advance. So whichever one you are doing, having that content that is already made, you're not sitting there the day of trying to figure out what color background you're going to use, if this color font is going to clash with what you're doing, if you want the one with your face on it or your emoji on it, or if you want a solid one, if it's going to be black, red, white, blue, yellow, green, purple. Ain't nobody got time for all that. So if you can pre-plan your post, and then you can go and be social, because that is what social media is for, going to be social with the people, and you're not sitting there thinking of, what do I need to say? Does it have to be perfect? Oh my gosh, does it have to be this and gumdrops and rainbows and no.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's one of the things that has been helping me. I'll sit down, like yesterday. Yesterday was scheduling content for my personal page. And then next week, and I really need to move that up to the last Sunday of the month, the first Sunday of the month, for my group and my personal page. Because they do have two different timelines, but I want to make sure that I'm giving both of them what they deserve to have. So schedule your posts, y'all. It makes life so much easier if you schedule your post. You don't have to think about it. It's already done. And if you come back into your Facebook after you get off of work, because most of us work, and you're checking on your engagement, you can see that there's a lot of people engaging based on a question. I know there was one day I've gotten comments, so many comments off of, I can't even think of which one it is, but just being there and showing up consistently, having posts already made. Well, you don't have to think about that. That's been a beauty for me. I don't know about anybody else, but if you like staying on Facebook all day, every day, you got all the time in the world to stay on Facebook all day, every day, do you, boo?
Yeah. I think you are really onto something when you're talking about this batch scheduling, MJ. For entrepreneurs out there who are not really sure how to go about it, I want to also share some insight on that too, based off of what MJ was talking about. The first thing is you have options. You pay someone to teach you how to do it. You do it yourself through research and trial and error, or you pay someone to do it for you. You choose out of those options. So the queensdigitalstudio.net provides the option where they are doing that, providing that pre-made template for you, and then you can go and schedule them, right? Now, when it comes to the content that's being created, there's options there. You can request custom batch created flyers so that when you're posting them, they align with your brand or, your imaging and stuff like that. Now, depending on what you're requesting might change the price point. For example, if it's customized batch scheduled content, it's probably going to be more expensive than one generic batch content that you can use anywhere because it's not specific to, one color or one style or one logo. And then when it comes down to the content that you're putting on these flyers, you can go with, think of your industry that you're in, and then pick out 3 topics that you're passionate about in that industry. Underneath 3 of those 3 topics, there's going to be multiple conversations that can be had about that topic. So if you want to see what that looks like in real time, give me a random industry, MJ. Any industry.
Clothing.
Okay. I could do that. Okay. Clothing. We're going to talk about the fact that the sizes aren't the same as they used to be. We're going to talk about the fact that it feels like apparel is becoming more expensive with less material.
Mm.
And we're going to talk about the fact that as each age goes, we still see people recycling the same styles. And it feels like it's new, but it's really something that we've already seen. Those are 3 different categories, okay? Now, underneath those categories, I could talk about a million and one things. So I already forgot 2 of them that I just listed. It's been a long day. But out of one, let's go with the one where we talk about recycling, styles being recycled. There's so many different ways that you could approach that. You could talk about which styles are popular and trending and always are recycled each year. You could talk about styles that you didn't know were styles before that we just decided to use again. Um, for example, let's see what's a style that people have gotten back into. Mullets. For people who are newer, probably saw the mullet and thought like, oh, that's nice, that's cool, and just decided to start rocking it. But people have been wearing mullets for eons. Someone saw that and then they decided to wear it and it became a trend again. But at one point in time, the mullet went away. You know what I mean? So you weren't seeing it as much. Some people still kept them, but a lot of people, you didn't see those hairstyles. I'm just using that as an example of how you can create multiple conversations about one specific topic. So you create these 3 different, choices that you want to discuss and go from there. You can also talk about values. You could decide on what values you want to incorporate. So I want to talk about just an example, since it's a clothing brand, body positivity, finding pieces that you can wear that are timeless, boosting confidence. Those categories are a lot more broad. I could make tons of content surrounding that. And the thing about the day and age we're in is that you don't even have to do that process because you can hire someone else to do it for you. You can use ChatGPT for the content and then send over the content to a designer, and let that designer know, let MJ know, hey, what's your price range for custom if she's doing custom at that time. But these are all things to consider during this process. But what she said specifically about scheduling on social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, golden, because at the end of the day, you sit down and you do this 1 time out of the month or 2 times out of the month, you've saved yourself so much time of last minute scheduling and trying to understand if it's the right decision for you. What do I, like you said, what do I write about? What are people interested in? If you research all this ahead of time and you make the decision to either buy the bulk post or create the post, you no longer have to deal with that time gap. You just study it, research it, and then schedule 1 bulk day. Right. And for me, I don't know what your batch creation days look like, but for me personally, it looks like tuning out social media. It looks like getting me some snacks, putting on maybe like a movie or audio or something so that I can pause in between, take breaks in between, and then just work on each thing. That's how I usually do my day. It's very much in solitude.
Yeah, me, I usually get my posts made. I like to have my posts made the month before I'm going to use them.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm working in, I'm working in May to have June's content made, just made. That means I'm sitting down, I'm generating questions, I am creating, choosing a design, I am putting those together, I am saving it. It's on my computer. So when I come back the last week of May, last Sunday in May, because Sunday is usually my, if I'm doing any batch content day, it's going to be on a Sunday. So when I sit down that last Sunday or that first Sunday, depending on what it is I'm doing and which place I am working in, I want to have it ready. Like, I don't want to sit too long and say, oh, I got to generate it and then I got to schedule it. And if I can have that thing done, that part done, I'm good. Because then that opens me up for being able to post different things like throughout the week. So for example, the Queen's Digital Studio is the the house behind the post, the content that's being made. But sometimes it might be posting Travel with MJ that I see. I was like, oh, let's post this. Spur of the moment.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting there thinking of this spur of the moment post and that spur of the moment post and that spur of the moment post. And I'm not posting here at 12:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where they know that my lunchtime engagement usually comes out at 12. I'm not posting at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where they know Travel Tip Tuesday is going to come out at 2:30. It's a way for me to have it all done. And not only am I sitting there generating for social media, I might also be creating for email lists.
Yep.
Because a lot of time, and this is one of the things that I have to honestly tell myself. So I'm not picking on nobody because I do it myself. Content can be reused.
Yeah.
One group of people might have saw it last month. Another group might see it this month. If you are active in groups and you are engaging on social media like you should, you'll start getting referred or recommended as the creator to follow. Then you're going to get an influx of follows. And guess what? Those new followers did not see what last month's followers saw.
Yeah.
So the idea of everything has to be new and everything has to be fresh is not always true. That's something that I have to work on myself, even as the person who is creating the content. So it's not just you as a business owner who doesn't create, who doesn't batch create the content. This is even something for me. Reuse your content, folks.
Repurposing content has been extremely beneficial for me. And as a social media manager, you know how many flyers that I've reposted for my clients over and over again that have still gotten them leads? There was a post that I made for Travel with MJ. I post that post over and over and over and over again
And
in
guess what?
multiple communities. And guess what? Still generating reviews, still generating traffic,
Because
people still
somebody
clicking on
saw
the
it
link.
that time,
Yeah.
that may not see it next time.
Yep.
You're putting new, especially when you get into this thing called social media. Now, I'm not in it as deep as Katana is. Katana has been in this game way longer than me. But what I have picked up from what I experienced is the more that you are social, the more you're going to be referred. The more you're going to be referred, the less time you're going to have to make content.
You're
That's
right.
just my experience. Now, I can be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know. But the more you are referred and you are pushed out to the algorithm, the less time you're going to have to make up new content. Because guess what? You got new followers coming in. You're going to have people who haven't seen the content you already have out there. Then people's attention span is very short.
You got inquiries coming in. You have to structure your business. You're thinking of a whole bunch of different things as you're getting all this attention. I mean, I do feel that it's true in my experience, and I've seen in other people's experience. That's part of the reason why we have social media managers or any level of manager, because if I could sit and do all of these different tasks myself and not burn myself out, I'd be doing it. But the fact
Right.
that the inquiries are increasing, I have to now either create a system that makes sense for me, or I need to go and start delegating and hiring, or I need to do both just at different times. So I do I think a lot of people forget about that. And then back to that batch creation, um this is a recommendation that I put out there too. Start training yourself to, each time that you batch create, challenge yourself to do a little bit more. So like if you do 1 month of batch creation where it's like I'm going to do all my content for 1 month, challenge yourself to get to 2 months for the next time that you batch create. So instead of doing for June or May, June, I'm going to do May, June, and July, or you keep adding on the amount of months, because the goal is that you are batch creating quarterly if possible. So you're going to be batch creating for every 3 months or every 4 months, so that you only have to batch create 3 times out of a year or four
Right.
times out of a year. Because that
Right.
right there is, think about how much time we could probably save if your content, your flyers, your posts, your events have already been scheduled and planned for the next 4 months. And all you're doing is pressing send or pressing schedule one time. They're set in place and they're rolling. Your newsletters. Right now, I have newsletters going all the way until June, but my goal is when I do my next batch creation for newsletters to get the next 2 to 3 months in. So that's what we're looking at. So by the end of what, at the end of this month or the mid June, I'll be making content for July, August, and I might even get to September. But
Yeah.
you do that, and your time, like you were saying earlier, that time that you need, the time that you're trying to preserve, you get so much more when you're doing these big batch sessions, which is a
Mm.
part of the reason why I was saying I have to be off social media. I have to be, I might have on a TV show or something to make me laugh or get my creative going, but I have to be in a space where I'm able to just create and do what I need to do in my zone. So I do that because 2 to 3 months worth of content is a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And even though,
Especially,
oh, what were we going to say?
especially if you have the time to sit down and batch create. Now,
Hmm.
Katan and I are on two different levels, so let's explain here. Let's discuss. Katan
Sure, let's
says this.
discuss.
Let's discuss because
Yes, no, that's a good point. It's a good
we
point.
want to make sure that this message is reaching the people in their lane.
Hmm.
Okay. Now let's look at Katan and I. We are two. Of course, we are two completely different people, but we are on two completely different wavelengths. Katan does her businesses 24/7. Her schedule is based around her businesses.
Yep.
My schedule is not as flexible. Okay. And even then, let me make sure I'm saying this responsibly too, because I don't want nobody to come and say nothing crazy to me. Okay. Katan's flexibility is her ability to be able to sit down when she needs to do what she needs to do. She's not in a job. Her business is her job. She's not in
Yeah.
a W-2 job, let me put it that way. She's
Hmm.
not in a W-2 job. Everything that she does, she has to do, because if she does not work, she does not eat.
Yeah.
On
It's a
the other
different,
hand,
yeah.
and it's different. On the other hand, you have me. Now, while I have multiple businesses, I also have W-2s. So, while I will never say if my businesses don't do right, I will still have my job, because ultimately MJ finna be out. That's the goal.
She said, I ain't trying to be there either. What you,
I ain't trying to be there. I'm trying to get where she
oh,
at. So
oh
if you
Lord.
don't have nothing but an hour on a Sunday to sit down and batch create, because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday has kicked your butt, and with this economy, Saturday might have as well.
Yeah.
That's okay. Your starting point and our starting points are going to be three different starting points, because you're starting it here, I'm starting here, and Katan is starting there. Please don't take nothing that we're saying here as, oh, I have to do it this way because that's what they said. No.
And then another thing too, MJ, because that's a really great point. I do appreciate you providing that clarity. Everybody's entrepreneurship journey looks different. And
Right.
there's a few things that you said that I resonate with. Like, it's true. When you work 9 to 5, this is your full-time job. It's a different feeling of like, you might be tired and you come home and you say, ooh, I'm exhausted. I'll just do that thing tomorrow. I can't do that thing tomorrow because
Exactly.
who gonna pay the bills? The
Exactly.
bills? I gotta eat. And then it's
Exactly.
a different
And
it's
she
a
likes
different
her
feeling.
crawfish.
I like my
So
crawfish. I love my crawfish, matter of fact. And I get quite hangry when I don't have it. So
listen.
I gotta do this.
Mhm.
But then also it's like back to that other thing. I do want to make sure I make this part. I feel like this is important. This is imperative. Um, Everyone has to start somewhere. So, like you were
Absolutely.
saying, there's different levels. You start off, anything you start off with, it's going to be a little rocky. You're not going to be perfect just because you're off. You could have your business be full time and still start off rocky at batch
Mhm.
creation because it's hard to do in general. It requires like mental focus to stay in this place and say I'm going to get X amount of content done for the day. It's a lot of focus that is required. So anything can be rocky, but with time, regardless of whether you are in a 9 to 5, like for your business or you're full time for your business, because for most people, like for me, sometimes it's not my 9 to 5, it's 9 to 9 or 9 to 999. So
That's
it
like
really depends
sometimes it's
on,
9 a.m. to 9 a.m. the next day, and ain't no sleep
yeah,
in between.
okay. So listen, and we've been working on that making sure that we try to take those breaks in our work life balance. I'm doing much
Mhm.
better. But my point is, as time goes on, whether you're doing entrepreneurship full time or part time, progress should happen at a place where you are sacrificing things that are not required in your life and replacing them with stuff to increase your productivity.
Mhm.
Because everybody's day looks different, but I have had conversations with entrepreneurs where they have directly told me, yeah, I could have been working on stuff, but I just didn't feel like it. So I just didn't do it. They had 9 to 5, but that time that they spent saying like, I just don't feel like doing it. If it was spent batch creating, you could have gotten 1 to 2 months of content putting out. The thing is, you have to be extremely protective with your time, whether you're an entrepreneur full time or you're an entrepreneur part time. You got to be protected with your time because there's moments in your day where you're consuming something. Not everybody, but a lot of people, you're consuming something that is non-productive to your mental, that could have been replaced with something to get you to that next level or to help you put in more time. So it's not to say that if you're feeling tired and you're feeling drained that you have to do it the way that I do it, like MJ said. Um, However, I do want to make sure that we are not limiting our capabilities because everyone has their it. And when I say their it, I mean the thing that could be the reason why they don't do as well or why they don't go as far. Everyone has one. It may not be look the same, but everybody has it. So you either going to be the person that makes it the reason why you're not able to achieve and grow and elevate and get to that level, or you're going to make it the motivation for why you're going to achieve. So that is no longer going to be something that can stop you. So I don't want anyone to listen to that and feel like, well, I'm part-time entrepreneur, so I'll I'll batch create for 1 week and I'll see, I'll just do that for now because if you can do 3 months, do 3 months. But it requires sacrifice. On the days when I want to go out and like just have a little good time, and stuff, I'm not doing that. I'm in my house studying, working, refining things, planning events, making sure the stuff looks right for my clients. There's a lot of stuff that I sacrifice time wise and mental wise to replace it with stuff for my business. And it's a lot of stuff that sometimes stuff I enjoy and sometimes stuff that I like it, but is it more important than getting me closer to where I want to be?
Right.
So don't get discouraged either. I don't want you to get discouraged. I don't want you to make excuses for yourself. I don't want you to beat yourself up, but I don't want you to limit yourself.
Right.
Because if you spent 50 minutes watching Real Housewives and then you tell me you can't batch create for 2 months, baby, if you come back telling me what Megan Thee Stallion boyfriend said about dating and monogamy, and you couldn't get batch creations, time, mind share. Start replacing the content that you're listening to, the spaces that you're sitting in, the time that you're spending on things with time that is going to help you grow your business. Because you need it more than, I would say, anyone. Because for someone who is not an entrepreneur and does not need to worry about that, it's still important because they got stuff they want to achieve in their life. But you as an entrepreneur, you can't afford that, whether you're a full-time entrepreneur or a part-time entrepreneur. So if you are affording it right now, when you really can't, that can also play a factor in you being able to do these things and schedule out like that. Because the goal is sacrifice the time now so that later I don't have to worry about it. It feels so good when you batch creating, you have to do nothing. So yeah, don't overwhelm yourself. Don't feel like you have to do it that way. But also don't limit yourself. Be graceful with yourself, but hold yourself accountable and be self-aware of when you could pause on something else so that something else can prosper.
Right.
So I did want to. Oh, go ahead.
We do want to make sure that the message is responsible and it is relatable to everybody. That's not the two things that I had to say. One of the two things that I had to say is this is where if you can afford to outsource. If you can. Please hear me when I say if you can, because not everybody can, especially if you are day one in your small business journey or your entrepreneurship journey. If you are day one in your journey, you can't afford to outsource at the moment. But once you start gaining that income to where you can outsource. If you are not at the place to outsource yet, do me a favor, get yourself a good chair. Okay? Get yourself a good chair. Because when you are batch creating, unless you're walking around, in the middle of the floor, sitting. When you're researching, you're reading, typically you're sitting. Again, unless you're walking around in the middle of your living room floor, pacing the floor, burn a hole in the carpet or the hardwood floor, depending on what you have in your living room, get yourself a good chair. Because the amount of time that you're going to spend in the chair, you're gonna need some good support.
Be a good bit. You gotta be comfortable. I think
Your
that's
chair best be comfortable.
yeah, that's a good mental reminder. You just gotta be when you're in a good space, like for example, for me, when I have to do a lot of work, like today, on top of also like going to the gym and working out, mentally, I know I'm gonna make sure I do a nice skincare routine. I'm gonna have my hair put up in a nice mask. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to, do a little mini pedicure or something. I'm gonna get me some delicious snacks. I'm about to go cook me some stew right now. Um, and I'm gonna make sure that I feel comfortable so that while I'm going through this process, it just feels I can have my self care while taking care of myself. And like you said, a
Right.
nice chair, whatever it is, but you just got to start creating that space for yourself wherever you are. You don't need an
Mm-hmm.
office to do that. I'm
Right.
literally outside. I'm outside doing
Right.
a live.
If you have an office to where you can close your door and focus on what you're doing, awesome, amazing, great. However, most people don't start off with an office.
Yeah.
They start off with a desk in the corner of their room.
And
Some
D
may
and
not
D
start off with that. Some may start off with their living room couch
and D
with
and
the
D.
computer sitting on your lap.
Mm-hmm. Do not disturb is the perfect office too.
Listen, okay, okay. Some people start off with in the living room or sitting on the floor with the computer sitting in their lap. Did it? Or one of those what's those tables called? I can't think of the name of the table right now. But the little foldable
Contact.
no, the little foldable tables
Oh,
that that Walmart and Sam's Club and
oh yeah. I'm outside playing with a foldable table right now.
right, the little poker table. You
Mm-hmm.
might not have that much space for the little poker table. Whatever it is, just get started.
Yep.
Okay, that's the responsible part of this message. Just get started. Whether you are outsourcing, whether you are DIY, whether you are sitting down and you're doing research, because can't nobody do the research for you but you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Even with ChatGPT, you still need to check them. I'm just telling y'all now because ChatGPT almost had me canceled.
See the way that
But
see the way I'm trying not to touch on that as an English professor right now, but I'm gonna touch on it. Down there at
listen,
the bottom, down there at the bottom, it tells you on every generative. See, I wasn't gonna get started, but you brought it up. I
no,
wasn't
get
gonna say it,
started.
but you
Get
brought it
started.
up.
They need to hear this because people are getting too comfortable with it. And I don't
Right.
that's why I gotta go do my double research. I'm gonna tell you about how ChatGPT did.
And this is where Professor MJ shows up. Because for those who don't know, I'm a college English professor in my daily life. Now, at the bottom of every generative AI that you use, ChatGPT, Claude, Copilot, Grok, they tell you AI can make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And some people, I don't know if this is you, but if it's you, say out and move on. You the generative AI and don't do any editing to it. Now, if you're using it for content creation or you're just asking, like engagement questions, cool, fine, whatever. But
Still gotta look at it.
you,
Can I trust?
some people are using these generative AIs like they're the Bible. Like we can't pick up the books and research ourselves. Like we can't go to Google and find the website ourselves. Now, do it help with summarizing and paraphrasing and maybe rewording some things? Absolutely. But for
Mm-hmm.
those of you who use generative AI and that's all that you use, you've done no other research. I went to Chat GPT.
Listen, I asked ChatGPT. We have a new directory member that is based in France,
Ooh.
and she's worldwide. Her brand is worldwide, but She's based in France. And so I wanted to find a fun French song because I had some in mind, but they're not about empowerment, or they didn't align with her brand. So it didn't make sense for the post that I was creating.
Right.
So I said, let me go inside, see if I can find some other French songs. So I went on ChatGPT. I said, find me a song that's about empowerment. Find me a song that's about uplifting the people, but in French. ChatGPT pulled up about 3 different songs. You want this, you want that, you want this. Why I click on the song, and then I typed in the same song on ChatGPT and I said, decode this song for me in detail. Why did the song come back talking about something of it's a story of a murder of the people. The and then just imagine
remember what it said. I want my money back.
Imagine me posting that on my Instagram and thinking that I'm doing something fun for her, and she goes and listens to that song, and it's like as a new client.
I don't know about them, but I probably would have asked my money back.
I still haven't told her. Oh, I don't pay for ChatGPT. I wish I would. Let me not say that out loud. Look, maybe with the time, but right now, no, I'm not paying for information that all I have to do is go to Google and search it. Right now, it spits at the same thing.
No, I ain't
now,
talking
I do
about
like
you
the fact.
ChatGPT.
Oh, you're talking about people that do.
I'm talking about that director. Remember asking for their money back because that was just not it. That's what I'm talking about. Ma'am, I want my money back. You disrespected my culture. I want my money back.
Oh Lord, I still haven't told her that took place, and when she hears it, she's gonna crack up laughing because I already know her sense of humor. But man, let me tell you, when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, thank goodness for research, because you're really about to have me on here sounding all kinds of crazy. She was gonna look at that. She's so sweet. She probably would have been like, is there something? Are you okay? But
right.
I looked at that and I was like, I would have posted that. You cannot trust everything that ChatGPT. I mean, we know we cannot trust everything that AI, computers, ChatGPT generates, and even with content, sometimes you have to go back and reread it because they have something in mind, just like a human might have something in mind, but that's not quite what you want. Except for with the computer, you're reading it, so you need to really read it, because you don't want an accident where you post something that doesn't align. I do a double check whenever I see something on ChatGPT, because I just can't. And then I go research directly too. I have to click. I need to see that website because they're pulling up information from online, and that isn't. We don't know necessarily, is this a legitimate website or is this a legitimate place? I know for a fact that they probably have some kind of system in place for cybersecurity, but we don't know for a fact that they're always going to give you something that's perfect. We don't know that. So always double check that, baby. ChatGPT was about to have me looking crazy. Wild. But anyways, back to the conversation initially. With the batch creation, getting comfortable, starting somewhere. I think that you hit like a really great point, MJ. And remembering where you're starting from, because I do think that's important. I think I talked about it earlier. Everybody's going to have whatever that obstacle is, whether you're full-time, whether you're part-time. But what's important, like you said, you got to start somewhere. And then also you have to create consistency. You have to develop a routine and stay consistent at it long enough to say that it did or did not work. I think that's what we may need to hopefully focus on to help your business grow and elevate. And we dropped some really good tips in here. You gave them services that you provide that can make their life faster, their business life. We talked about batch creation. We talked about the goal of increasing your batch creation over time as you master it. We talked about the importance of knowing where you are as an entrepreneur so you can decide on what makes sense for your schedule, because your schedule is going to look different. Even full-time entrepreneurs have different schedules. My schedule may not look like the next person that is a full-time entrepreneur. So we talked about that. And we talked about making sure that you're creating a space for that regardless of where you're starting. So a lot of really great tips and feedback. I do appreciate you for coming on, and I had a great time with this conversation. I'm just realizing now, though, I got to get off of this conversation because I forgot my consults are a little bit later now. You know, I opened up my consults later because we were running out of booking slots. Yeah. So gotta get off of there. but I do appreciate you. And I want to say thank you for coming on and giving out that insight for other entrepreneurs that needed to hear it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, as usual.
Of course. Thank you. Well, I'll talk to you soon, MJ. It was a great conversation, and I'll see you at our next upcoming event.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.